So for our next activity, we're going to look at our absolute error, and we're going to just say, whoops, I forgot there wasn't actually 100 items in there. There was really 80. So now what we're going to do is redo our table. So to do that, I'm just going to redo a column here. So my guess column was 30, 45, 50, 52, 80, 100, 125, 110, 125. And then my actual error, or my actual number here was 80. So what we're going to do is find the absolute guessing error. Which just finds the difference between the numbers, but it's always positive. So for example, I could go 30 minus 80, which is negative 50, and then take the absolute value. So really we're going the absolute value of 30 minus 80, which is negative 50, and the absolute value would make it positive 50. But what I do for a shortcut, you can just do like 80 minus 45. So you just take the bigger number and then subtract it from the smaller number. And then feel free to use the calculator if you need to. So 80 minus 45 gives us 35. 80 minus 50 is 30. 80 minus 52 is 28. 80 minus 80 is 0. 100 minus 80 is 20. 125 minus 80 is 45. 110 minus 80 is 30. And 125 minus 80 gives us 45. So now what we're going to do is predict how this might change. So, one of us might be like, I don't know. I'm not sure what the graph is going to look like. So you could plot this to see. But what we're going to do is actually just graph this. So we're going to learn how to use graphing technology to make this happen. So our equation was y equals the absolute value of x, but then minus 80. So I'm going to show you how to put this in these calculators. You can also do that in Desmos. So you go y equals, I'm going to clear that out. We press math. And we're looking for the absolute value function. So this is ABS, means absolute value. And then we do of x minus 80. So I just put in x minus 80. And then if you notice, our graph is outside of the window. So I'm going to have to change my window here. And I'm going to go from, it's going to be centered at 80. So I'm going to go from, let's say, 40 to 120. And then my maximum, I'm going to go from negative 10 to, let's say, 100. Check out my window. So there is my graph. Now our other graph was y equals the absolute value of x minus 100. So let's put that in. So we just press math, go to number, absolute value of x minus 100. Now, if we just sketched a graph of that, I could press a trace button, and you notice the x minus 81, go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. The center is at 80. The x minus 100, that's 90, 100. The v there is centered at 100. So when I move the x minus 80, this was centered at 80. And another observation, the x minus 100 was centered at 100. So can we write a rule for finding the output given the input? So in our situation, y is equal to the absolute value of x minus, and then we'll just say whatever my absolute, whatever the number was. So n is the number of items. So to define my variable, n is the number of items and x is our guess. So we could just fill in the number of items and put that into our calculator and get an equation or a table.